Hi, my name is Gualberto Garcia Jones, and I'm the president of the Personhood Alliance and a licensed attorney in the Commonwealth of Virginia. For the last 2 weeks, the attention of the world has focused on Virginia for all the wrong reasons. First, we had these comments from Delegate Tran.
Where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth. She has physical signs that she is about to give a birth. Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand
at
that. I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
This video immediately went viral as people cringed in horror at the cruel indifference of this legislator to the killing of a 40-week-old baby. Now, the bill in Virginia that was being discussed is very similar to bills being introduced all over the country. In fact, New York's Governor Andrew Cuomo signed the New York version of the Virginia bill into law and then ordered the One World Trade Center to be lit in pink to commemorate the grim landmark. Not to be outdone by Delegate Tran and by his fellow governor from New York, Virginia's Governor Ralph Northam, who is a pediatric neurologist by training, went on a local radio show and said this.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
Following on the heels of Delegate Tran's cold-hearted comments about killing a baby at 40 weeks gestation, Governor Northam's comments sent the conservative media into a frenzy. Of course, the Democratic establishment, which includes almost all mainstream media, was unfazed. Abortion at 40 weeks? Okay. Infanticide is just another medical option? All right. What finally made the media and the Democratic establishment turn against Governor Northam was the discovery of the governor's medical school yearbook, where he appeared either as a Klansman or a racist caricature of a person in blackface paint. Now the link between the abortion industry and racist and eugenic groups is clear and well documented. There is a really good article just today by Calvin Freiberger on LifeSite News if you want to learn more about this. But what I want to talk to you about today in this video is the fact that abortion until 40 weeks and even infanticide are already the law of the land. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great that radical pro-abortion Democrats are showing the world what they really believe about the value of innocent babies. But the fact of the matter is that abortion has been legal for all 40 weeks of pregnancy since 1973. Now, most people would think this is because of Roe versus Wade, but actually, a case that was decided the same day called Doe versus Bolton is the one that most people don't know about, and it is that case that allowed abortion on demand until the very last moment of a full-term pregnancy. Think about it this way. Roe versus Wade declared that the child in the womb was not a legal person with constitutional rights. It cloaked this absolutist conclusion with a lot of confusing standards and erroneous legal and historical analysis. But basically, Roe said that the preborn are second-class beings. But Doe versus Bolton is where abortion really became untouchable. Doe versus Bolton dealt with the flawed abortion regulation of the state of Georgia. In particular, the laws in Georgia allowed abortion in the cases where the health and life of the mother were in danger. The Georgia law also allowed abortion in cases of rape and in those cases where the baby developed a mental or physical defect. That sounds a lot like eugenics, doesn't it? Now, it's important that I give you some background on how these laws came to be so that you can know how these exceptions that so many pro-life politicians now support were actually the things that led us to where we are today. For about 90 years, Georgia had prohibited all abortions except those necessary to save the life of the mother. Then, in 1968, Georgia adopted the recommendations of the American Law Institute's Model Penal Code and allowed for the exceptions for abortions that would be the basis for the Doe opinion. It is worth noting that this was a project that was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, which in its day was like the George Soros Foundation, the Open Society Foundation today. The Model Penal Code pushed for abortion and the decriminalization of pornography, among other things. Anyways, what Justice Blackmun did with these exceptions was to interpret them so broadly that abortion at 40 weeks of gestation and infanticide became the law of the land. This is not an exaggeration. It's not just the comments from the governor of Virginia. About 20 years ago, Jill Stanek exposed the practice of infanticide for babies born with defects, And as a result, a toothless federal law was passed, but it was never enforced, not even once. And the practice of infanticide continues today. But going back to Doe, the way that Doe versus Bolton made abortion on demand for any reason was by making the doctor the judge, jury, and executioner. According to Doe versus Bolton, abortion at any point of the pregnancy was allowed if a doctor considered it in his best medical judgment that it was necessary to preserve the health of the mother. Justice Blackmun went on to define health of the mother by saying that, quote, the medical judgment may be exercised in the light of all factors, physical, emotional, psychological, familial, and the woman's age, relevant to the well-being of the patient. All these factors may relate to health. This allows the attending physician the room he needs to make his best medical judgment, and it is room that operates for the benefit, not for the disadvantage of the pregnant woman. No mention of the interests of the child, of course. What this means is that if a doctor agrees with the woman that the baby will cause her to be depressed, they can kill the 40-week-old baby. If the doctor and the woman agree that the mother's too young or too old to have the baby, they can kill the 40-week-old baby. If the mother has broken up with the father of the baby, the mother can kill the 40-week-old baby. Of course, if the baby had Down syndrome, they could kill the 40-week-old baby. And in fact, this happens to be the fate of more than 90% of the babies who have Down syndrome in the United States. In fact, an investigation into George Tiller's late-term abortion clinic by the then Attorney General of Kansas showed that the majority of the late-term abortions being carried out by that particular abortionist were because the mothers were distressed because of financial reasons. Again, this is and has been the law for the last almost 50 years, since 1973, folks. It might shock us to hear Delegate Tran in Virginia admit that abortion should be done in the 40th week, and it might anger us to see the New York governor light up One World Trade Center to celebrate the similar law. But the reality is that under Doe versus Bolton, that has been the law since day one. Justice White, in his dissent in Doe versus Bolton, made it very clear. He said, quote, that the court apparently values the convenience of the pregnant mother more than the continued existence or development of the life or potential life that she carries. Again, convenience is more important than life. It's important to know that the case of Doe versus Bolton, because too many pro-lifers agree to compromise and include a health exception in the hopes of passing a given pro-life regulation. But remember that it was this very same health exception that was allowed, that has allowed abortion through all 40 weeks of pregnancy. It's good that people are finding out about this now, but it would be even better if pro-life legislators and pro-life legislation started to reflect the legal reality of what Doe versus Bolton and the health exception does. You may be asking, though, how does the health exception carry over into infanticide? Well, it's very simple. If the decision between life and death is simply a point of debate between a doctor and a distressed mother at 40 weeks, why not apply the same logic to a baby that has already been born and needs medical assistance? If we allow a doctor to kill a 40-week-old child because the mother doesn't think she has the help to raise the child, why wouldn't we do the same when the baby's born with some medical issue? I hope that this video has been helpful for you and that you understand how it came to be that abortion was allowed throughout the 40 weeks of pregnancy and even after birth. If you are outraged about this, turn that outrage into action and join us at the Personhood Alliance by visiting personhood.org and getting educated. You can also find your local affiliate, and if there isn't one in your state, we can help you start one. If you believe that all children are made in the image and likeness of God, and you want to bring about a change in our culture without compromise, without exceptions, and without apology, then Personhood is the group for you. Thank you, and God bless you.